Hey people, welcome to part 34 of the Man with No Name painting tutorial, Patreon exclusive, obviously. So we're working on the poncho now, and I think I mentioned in the last video that we got the colour of the brown right. We just needed to work on the texture and the appearance and to make it look like the poncho. So there's bits that are darker, bits that are lighter. We're going to add some paint detail to simulate texture. We're going to do all of that stuff, and I said I wanted to change the bit where he throws over his shoulder and you see the underneath bit that's a bit more green. I wanted to change the colour of that a bit, not much, but just a bit. So what I've done off camera before I did this, because I didn't want to waste your time, I've mixed a colour ready to go, and I'll show you what I've done, and I'm basically ready to repaint that underneath section. It's probably still going to use the colour that's underneath as a base. I don't think it's going to completely obliterate that. If it does, it's fine. I've mixed the right colour, but I wasn't quite happy with the shade of it, and also I knew I needed to change it anyway. I thought it would be more of a subtle thing as opposed to I'm just going to change that, but I do want to change it. But also there's bits of it on the statue where the paint hasn't gone on as evenly as I wanted. You can see bits where it's more brown and more green than I wanted. I want some of that on there, but it's a bit too much, and the easiest way to even that out is to use another colour, which is the more accurate colour than I was aiming for anyway, and just get it done in one go. So that's what we're going to do now, and then carry on working. So give me 1 second to put my coffee down. Try not to make a noise for the camera, for the microphone. Right, so let me bring the other camera in, and we'll just get straight on with it. Okay, that should be about there. Let's see. Yeah, close enough. Okay. So we've got the brown colour, which is fine. It's going to have more texture, more worn out bits, more shadows, but it's fine. The green bit is pretty spot on, but I wanted it to be a little bit more blue. This is sort of a vague greeny brown. I wanted there to be a little bit of blue in there, because when you look at pictures of the original thing, it's got a bit of blue in there. Obviously the back's going to get all the texture, but for now we are doing this bit. See here, see the uneven bits that would have been covered over with the layers of adding highlights and stuff, but I just, you know what, I thought this series is going on long enough anyway. I just sort of want to get it done in one go. So, what I've done, I said I was going to show you, didn't I? I've mixed this colour here, and you can see it's sort of the same colour. It's just got a hint of more blue in it, and what it's made of is, I just mixed a pile of it because I didn't want to run out. Chocolate brown, leather brown, royal blue, stone green, a little bit of that, olive green, a little bit of that, and a little bit of golden yellow. So all of those colours, in fact, now that I'm thinking about it, I should probably put those lids on. All of those colours, hang on, gotta remind me guys when I'm not in the corner, shout at me. I took all of those colours and basically I started with the chocolate brown, chucked down a load of chocolate brown, and then started adding the two greens, a little bit of blue, a little bit of yellow, the leather brown, then a bit more green, a bit more blue, a bit more chocolate brown, and just mixed it on until I was happy with the colour. I thought, you know what, that's a close enough colour for what I want. What I might do is just throw in a little bit more thinner. Okay, swirl that around. I've probably mixed like about 5 times more paint than what I actually need here, but it's fine. I'd rather have too much than too little. Okay, so where does this go? It goes all across the front. It'll go round the back there, even though that's sort of not seen anyway, but it will go there. It goes round there. So it just goes up to that line and there. It's just that bit. All of this is the right colour, so it's just this underneath bit that goes there. It's mainly for that bit. We just want to see that view. So let me check everything's going. Music is on, counter is clocking up, audio is on, music is on, not too loud. Okay, let's get on with this. I mean, it's almost the same colour, but it's just a bit different. And what this is going to do as well, because it's the previous colour was made of several layers of different, you know, there's a green, then there's a brown wash over the top of it, and then there was something else. So that's how we've ended up, because of some of those later thin washes. Oh, this is difficult. How it looks a little bit uneven in parts, because I clearly didn't control the washes that I was putting down as good as I could have, because I was covering large areas and it would have got cleared up once I was, you know, done more layers, but with the amount that I'd done already, they're a little bit uneven. Now, because this is a thicker excuse me. Oh, something in my throat. Because this is a slightly thicker single mix, so it's not like 5 layers of different colours, it's just one colour going down at once. This should be more even and will then allow me to go on top. I hope you can see that. Will allow me to go on top where I need to do the shading and the highlights and the shadows and all of that stuff. It's difficult because I can't get hold of certain parts because it's got wet paint on it, so I've got to be careful. I'm just trying to paint up to the edges. I'm trying to do it as much as I can with this brush without having to go to a smaller brush. This brush has, because it's wide, but it's quite thin, so I can get quite good edges with it. It's difficult because I'm holding such a large piece and I'm having to steady my hand without being able to rest on it. Normally I would hold, if I'm holding the thing, I would use this hand to steady the brush. Now I can't do that because this hand is holding this giant lump of rock that I'm painting, but as long as I can keep it steady enough, it'll be fine. So I can already see the colour is going over the uneven parts and doing a good job of smoothing it out. So just got to make sure that I don't stick my thumb on a bit of wet paint and then smudge it somewhere where I don't want it. When you're holding a big thing, they happen to keep twisting around to get in the correct position for you. That's a thing that you can do if you're not careful. I've done it before. Let me turn this upside down if I can. Get hold of that there. There you go. It's difficult doing it without being able to steady my hand. Try and find somewhere to lean on. Well, the difficult thing is because my brush hand isn't being steadied in the same way that I normally do, because I use fingers on both hands to steady my grip and steady the bristles, because I can't do that. This hand is shaking a little bit, and then I've got the hand that I'm holding the thing with. This hand is shaking because all the muscles in this forearm at the moment are just screaming in agony because this thing is so flipping heavy to hold like this. So basically both of my hands are shaking, and that makes it very difficult when you're trying to paint lines up against another colour. Thankfully the colour that I'm going over is practically the same colour, so as long as I'm roughly right, it should be okay. Because even if there's a little bit missed, you shouldn't notice it too much because it's the same colour almost underneath. I'll tell you one thing I am noticing, that the bit where I thought I said it was uneven a little bit, where the washes that I'd put down were a bit uneven, you could see brush strokes, and I assumed it was me putting the wash down in a hurry and not spending enough time. Noticed it's doing the same thing in exactly the same place with this paint. I'm just wondering if there's an issue with maybe the resin or something, and it's causing the paint to go a bit funny in that place. 'Tis possible. I don't know if that's what's happening, but it's possible, because it's just odd that it's doing it in the same place. Oh my god, this thing is so heavy. Right. Give my arm a rest for a second. Ow, 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 ow. Right. Ugh. What am I doing now? I don't know what I'm doing. I suppose I could do underneath. I've got the paint. Doesn't have to be as neat under here because it's hidden. Well, it's mostly hidden. So this is sort of behind his bum, I guess, and his legs. So you don't really see this. But you might see a bit of it if you look through, so might as well have it the same even colour as the rest of it, so at least then it just looks like the back of his poncho, but sort of hidden. I might darken it a bit so it looks like it's, you know, in shadow or something. Ow, 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 ow. Okay, let's hold it that way. God, difficult, difficult, difficult. Right, there you go, that'll do. Can I rest that on its shoulders? Yes, I can. Wipe off a bit of the paint that's gone over there. I mean, these bottom edges are going to be made to look dusty anyway, so if there were any bits that are a bit over the edges or whatever, you won't notice them too much, because once they are done with the dusty weathering and stuff, it'll just look like it's all part of one thing. I couldn't think what I was trying to say there. I'm just holding it off to one side so I can look at it a different way. Okay. Oh, spotted a bit. Oh, flipping heck. Spotted a bit in there that I missed, and I just dipped my brush in the paint. Except I'm holding my brush upside down and I dipped that end in the paint. Let's try that again, shall we? I noticed there was a little bit in there that I hadn't got. I'm just looking over it. It will need another coat. I've got enough paint, which is not a problem. What I will do is put this down there for now. Ow. Let me... Let's see. Trying to think what to do here. Right, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to throw the brush in the water. I'm going to quickly, so you can stay there. I might edit this bit out when I come to upload it, or I will just tell you to fast forward. I've done this before. I'm going to run into the next room where there is a hairdryer, and I'm going to use the hairdryer to dry this piece. So give me 2 minutes maybe. Oh. So fast forward until I come back. Okay, I'm back. Oh. Right. So I went from holding this thing over my desk and getting cramp in my wrist to holding the thing while I was blowing it with the hairdryer and getting cramp in my wrist. I need a robot helper. I need Johnny 5 or the friendly Terminator or something. Okay. So I've put the brush in the water and I actually don't want it to have any water on it. Right, I'm going to quickly dry that off. Okay, no paint on my hands. Right, that's fine. Always worth checking when you're about to pick up a thing that you've painted, because sometimes I've done that before. I've done a thing, I've painted it, spent ages, have paint on my hand without realising, and gone and just put paint everywhere. And it's very annoying when you find that out and you realise what you've done and you shout at yourself quite a lot. Right, so I'm doing a second coat here. Quite a thin coat. I'm not watering it down, but I'm just making sure the paint is not going on thick or gloopy or anything. Just brushing it around quite thin, so it should dry quicker. So this colour, I was looking at it under different light while I was hair drying it, is pretty much exactly the colour that I wanted, so I'm quite happy with this. So what I will do, once I've got this bit done, so you're not having to fast forward again while I go back into the bedroom again to dry it, I will put this piece down. There's not much else I want to start yet. I was looking at some other pieces just then thinking, is there something else I can pick up? There's nothing else really that I want to start getting on with at this point, because I want to just work on the poncho for now. So what I will do is just make this a shorter video than some of the others. Some of you are probably cheering at that thought. Hooray, he's given us a rest. And it will mean that I can let this dry in its own time. I'm not trying to rush it with a hairdryer, and then when we come back on the next video we can probably get on with the texture of the brown part, and I guess the texture of the green part. We'll probably do them at the same time. They'll be different colours, but it's all part of the same process. I'm just trying to make sure that this is relatively smooth. Now if I, for whatever reason, if that resin thing is giving me any problems and I think it needs another coat, I will just do that off camera. I don't think it will. I think we're okay as we are, but just in case, if I see that, I'll just do it off camera, because you don't need to see me paint a thing twice. But that's the colour. Actually looks way more brown on my screen, but that could be the light. Here it's green, but it's still a browny green, but it's got a hint of blue in it and a little bit more yellow than it previously had, and I'm really happy with how that looks. That is pretty much perfect for what I wanted, because I'm visualizing that with all the geometric shapes on top and a load of weathering and stuff, and that's kind of perfect. Okay, what I'm going to do, I won't put it on the pad just because I don't want it to stick to it. I will put that there. Thankfully that's just resting on dry paint underneath because of the way that folds around, and then you get the brown stuff that's just resting on the brown stuff, which is dry, which is good. So let me, where's my trackpad gone? Oh, I covered up my mouse thing because I haven't got a mouse, I use a trackpad. I was trying to find it and I've covered it up with the foam pad. Let me go to my main camera. Okay, so short one this time. Only did one thing basically twice, and I ran out the room for half of it, but we did one thing, but it was an important thing. We mixed a new colour to replace the colour that was on there, which was almost exactly the same colour but just slightly different, and we painted it on. And I'm glad we did because it looks better now, and that's what it's all about. So, my God, it's getting hot in here. The sun's come around the front of the house and it's sort of shining really hard, and it's getting quite bright in here. And I think it's also the weightlifting routine that I'm getting by holding this thing. It's like, ow, ow, ow. I'm a weakling artist, I don't do this sort of stuff. Okay, I will let you go, and once this is dry I will get on with the next bit, or I will do some emails, or I'll do something. Good to see you all again. Ask me any questions you've got, send me any messages, show me pictures of things you're working on, go and subscribe to my YouTube channel, follow me on Instagram, all of those things, and have a good day, or a weekend if you're on the weekend, or wherever you are when you're watching this. And I will see you on the next video. I was trying to think then, is there anything else I need to say? No, there isn't. Just say goodbye, Darren. Goodbye, Darren.